All right, here we go. This is Dave Reynolds and welcome to another edition of Amazing Guitars Friday, episode 15. I hope you enjoyed that chicken picking exercise. I had a blast doing that. Those were over the chord changes to a song by Jerry Reed. I believe Jerry Reed composed it. It's called Jerry's Breakdown. And Jerry Reed performed it with Chet Atkins. Jerry Reed played a nylon string guitar part, Chet Atkins played a steel string. So definitely look up that piece if you have a chance. I'm working on chicken picking big time. I love it. For most of my career, I've played with just a flat pick or with the fingers traditionally that you use for classical guitar, but not the hybrid picking where you would use a thumb pick and fingers or a flat pick and your fingers, and that's really important. So if you're interested in that and you want any advice, let me know, but I highly recommend it if you're going to play anything other than classical guitar. If you're going to add some things into your repertoire, other styles, it'll come in handy. All right, excellent. So let's talk about this 1890s Bay State guitar. Bay State meaning the state of Massachusetts. And this guitar is from the 1890s. As I mentioned, I don't have an exact date. I need to get it registered. There's an archive research component to a website. If you go to baystateguitars.com, you'll find out what I mean. There's a guy by the last name of Wells who's really involved in the Bay State guitars, and he's building some more in that tradition. These guitars existed from roughly the middle of the 1800s till the early 1900s, maybe 1907, I believe is the date. As far as what this guitar is made out of, it's got Brazilian rosewood sides and back, it's got a spruce top, it's got the traditional pyramid bridge, and if you can't see that real well, I apologize, but if you just type in Bay State Guitars online and go to that website, you'll see a close-up of this. It'll be much better. Some of these bridge pins I've had to replace over time, but everything else is original. It's got a V-shaped neck, which I really like now. I've never been a big fan of it in the past. Before I owned one, none of my guitars had that shape to it. Comes back to a V here, and you put your thumb on the top of it, and I love it. The thumb rests beautifully right there. So I'm a big fan of that now. It's got these original brass engraved plate tuners, machine tuners. There was a period of time where there were the friction tuners and then the machine tuners, but in the 1800s the machine tuners were definitely in, and by this time quite common. It is a Z series. If I look at the top here, there's a Z stamped and the number 14, I believe it's 809. Is there anything else that I need to tell you about the guitar? It's got a little bit of a split in the back, but remember this thing is well over 100 years old. I've got the original coffin case, and I'm pointing to it because it's right here, but I'm not going to go over that because I did that in last week's episode when I talked about my field trip to Boston. So if you want to check out some information on the coffin case and a little bit of history of the builder of that, check out last week's episode. Okay, great. So I wanted to mention a brief history of the Bay State guitars. Bay State was the brand name of high-end acoustic guitars created by the John C. Haynes Company, which was founded in 1865 in Boston, Massachusetts. And John C. Haynes worked for Oliver Ditson, and Oliver Ditson was a big-time publisher of music. And I wanted to read a little bit from actually my dissertation that I wrote when I was working on my doctorate degree on the social history of the guitar in the early United States. Because of the guitar's rise in popularity during the 19th century, there was an increased demand for printed materials for the guitar. One of the most important publishers of guitar music was Oliver Ditson. And then if I skip down here, a branch office was opened by Ditson's eldest son in New York City in 1867, and another was opened in Philadelphia in 1876. By 1887, Ditson employed approximately 100 clerks and bookkeepers in the Boston location, and with 2 years, the company had published over 80,000 different pieces of sheet music and more than 23,000 music books. Incredible, incredible. So that's a good name if you're interested in looking up Oliver Ditson. There'll be a lot of great material there. What happened to my sheets here? You've got John C. Haynes to look up if you're interested in the Bay State, more of the history. And after this, I'm going to be performing a piece that was arranged by William Foden, and it was written by Septimus Winter, because I wanted to play something traditional on this instrument. I did that chicken picking piece just to show you the different things that you could do with the guitar. I try to do that with some of these instruments. I want to use them in a modern context, being very cognizant and aware of their original intention and being respectful, but continuing to use these instruments. So I will be performing Listen to the Mockingbird here in a minute. It was published in 1855. And the interesting thing about that piece, the significance of it, is that it sold 15 million copies. Is that incredible? In the mid-1800s. I think about 14.5 million in the United States, and then the rest around the world. William Foden's, his years are 1860 to 1947. He was a premier American guitarist in the late 1800s and into the 1900s. He did concerts in St. Louis, Chicago, and New York. Fantastic player. If you're interested in him, look him up. Septimus Winter, his dates are 1827 to 1902, and he went by some other names like Alice Hawthorne, Percy Guyer, and Mark Mason. So I hope you had a great day. I hope that was of some interest to you, and let me know if you have any questions or comments or inquiries. And have an excellent week, and please stay tuned for the performance of Listen to the Mockingbird. There will be a wardrobe change. I recorded this on a different day. But anyway, surf it mellow, my brothers and sisters, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks. Bye.